So, I think that I have a proposal. I think that for a period of time, doesn't have to be a long time, just for a period of time, I think white people need to be slaves.
Oh.
Here's why.
I'm sorry.
Here is why. So that white people will finally stop comparing everything they don't like to slavery.
Amen. Amen.
Oh my God. Really, not every rule you don't like is slavery. Not every time there's like a rule or a law that you don't like, that's not comparable to forced servitude in the hot sun. Do you think there were actually slaves? Some guy, his back all bloodied and cut up in the hot, baking sun. His wife had just been raped by the third farmhand that day. Honey, be grateful. We could be being asked to take basic safety precautions in a global health emergency. Swing low, swing low. This is tyranny. Mama's little baby's love show. I'm a big movie buff. Any movie buffs here?
Woo!
Yeah. I think we're in an era right now where legacy sequels are kind of the big trend. For a while it was like remakes, and now it's become more about these movies that are like these belated sequels to classics. Some, I guess it probably started with Star Wars and then just kind of snowballed from there. Some have been good, some have been bad, some have been very bad. But can we please stop saying that it ruined your childhood? You weren't molested. You didn't like a movie. Grow up. Yeah, when I was a little boy, anytime the Yankees would lose, my dad would get so drunk he'd beat me until we both passed out. What about you? The space wizard on the TV didn't do what I wanted him to do? And that actively deteriorated precious memories from my formative years. You just didn't like a movie. You don't have to. It's fine. So last week I had gone over to the Walgreens that was around the corner from where I work, and I had not one but two people assume I worked there. I don't know if it's a vibe I give off. I've heard some creative roasts, but "you look like you work at Walgreens" is a new one. I wondered before if I might be a sociopath. But then I thought about it and I realized I don't think a sociopath would have cried during Night at the Museum 3. To be fair, the movie came out after Robin Williams passed away, and there's a scene where he's saying goodbye to them. And I cried. I really cried. Let me just let
You ruined my childhood.
I didn't. Just to clarify, I didn't cry over the deaths of either of my deceased grandparents. Now, granted, Robin Williams never tried to convince me to hate Catholics. But Robin Williams was a hero of mine when I was a kid. Like, even before I started doing stand-up, before I knew what stand-up was, honestly, I think for a lot of people my age, The Genie was our first exposure to what stand-up kind of is. Just a guy just getting up and just riffing. And, again, when I was a little kid, I was just fawn over these movies like Aladdin and Jumanji, and now as an adult, I adore, Good Morning Vietnam, World's Greatest Dad. The biggest difference between the two of us is he was a successful comedian, making that the second thing he succeeded in doing that I've only attempted. I love the reactions I get from that joke. Yeah, I do have a few suicide attempts under my belt. Well, one of them was under my belt. Trauma! A friend of mine posted recently, they said that they think Demi Lovato is one of the most underrated vocalists of our time. Okay, no, they're a platinum-selling recording artist. That's not underrated. That's wildly successful. And they did all of this by singing like a goose. Go back and listen to it. Their vocal technique is honking. Oh, man. I call this joke, Al Pacino gets frustrated with his alphabetized CD collection. Oh, you're out of order. Thank you. I call this joke, Ronald Reagan when asked how he wants his steak done. Well... And I call this Mitch McConnell watching Sophie's Choice. Do you mind? I'm trying to masturbate here. I do want to end on something a little bit serious, actually. And I'm not like teeing that up to then do it. Like I'm dead serious. For those of you who don't know, in last weekend in Colorado, there was a shooting. 5 people were killed in a gay club, and 5 people aren't coming back, and their mothers will never see them, simply because they weren't afraid to be themselves. And at the same time, people, comedians even, want to talk about how hard they have it because they face consequences for sharing the same rhetoric that got these people killed. And they want to act like the victims from the comfort of national television. And it's true that actions speak louder than words. But I think in our readiness to jump to that, we forget that words do have power. And as comedians, I think we should know that better than anyone, because words are our tools of the trade. And I think we greatly, greatly devalue kindness. We see people admitting to their feelings being hurt as weak or frivolous. And yes, actions speak louder than words, but again, it's important to remember that no action was ever taken without being inspired by a word. So I just encourage us all, let's go out and do better. And let's love each other. And I'll leave you with this question. How did DeHerm make it all the way to Colorado?
That's right now.
Thank you so much.